Yeah, it was one of the biggest honors of my career for me to drive him for 2 years and to listen to him complain about my driving for 2 years. But it was such a blessing. Such an honor to listen to this guy. I remember the first show we did when we were together, and if you know Dutch, you're going to believe this. We wrestled our match. We were like right before intermission, and Take had come by, so we were talking with him. And then I was watching the rest of the matches, and Dutch was ready to go and get on the road. And I was like, well, they kind of want us to stay here and watch all the matches out of respect. And Dutch said, respect? Well, like, don't you want to learn? I was like, yeah, well, I wanted to learn and watch the matches. He said, you can learn more from me riding in the car in 30 minutes than you will for 2 hours of this show. I promise you. And so after that, we got done wrestling. We got in the car, and that's just the way it was. And like, Dutch isn't a cocky person, but he knows what he's talking about. And so after that, I laughed, and I never doubted him.
That is awesome. That's unbelievable. And I can just picture, in that classic Dutch voice and telling him, let's get in the car and, let's, and then he can drive a little bit.
Yeah.
With Dutch, what do you think is like the best piece of advice that he gave you? Obviously, to listen to him, but what do you think when looking back? What do you think is the best piece of advice?
Oh, what a great question. There's so much that like he gives without most people even picking up on it. One of the biggest things for me was if you watch my career, I'm 6'4", 270 pounds, but I move very well, so I like to wrestle almost like a smaller guy than I am. So when he came aboard, he saw that right away, and he always worked with me on protecting my size and protecting myself, which is important, in this business, because you could do so much more when you work the size that you are. And so he really helped me with that side of things. But also on a personal level, just as a friend, I would almost say that his advice was even more valuable on that side of things, just because he's so endearing, he's so caring, and he's been through so much that he just knows and understands so many situations. So, like, having him as a friend was just as good as having him as a teacher.
Dirty Dutch, huge legend. Who kind of comes up? Is it you and Dutch together? Is it the creative team? But who comes up with We the People, the hand over the heart, that awesome T-shirt with the hand over the heart? Who kind of comes up with that?
Well, I designed the T-shirt, and I was trying to sell it to WWE for the longest time, but they weren't on it. So I said, fine, I got it made myself, and then I wore it on the Money in Bank pay-per-view. And literally, as soon as I came back through the curtain, the entire merchandise department was there waiting for me. I guess the headquarters had called them and were like, what's going on? Da-da-da-da. They wanted the shirt made. So that's how that came about, which is kind of cool and good advice for anyone listening who is in there. It's like, go ahead and make the shirt that you want made and wear it on TV, and they will want it. But the We the People, it's such a cool story. I mean, and we talked about how natural is better in this business earlier. We just so happened to be in Nashville, where Dutch lived, a couple weeks after the Elimination Chamber, where I beat Randy to go to WrestleMania and wrestle Alberto. They were looking for people for a mouthpiece for me. They say I can't talk. I think I'm doing just fine. But anyways, we just so happened to be in Nashville. They brought Dutch in. I think it was Hunter's idea to bring Dutch in. And they were going to have him do a couple of promos on video and then play it for Vince later in the day. And he did one or two, and then like on the third one, he threw in "We the People" at the end, and everybody in the room when he said that, like to close it, it was just like, wow, that's so cool. Like it like fits perfect, and like everyone had heard of "We the People." It's on the doll, it's on, it's everywhere, but like it was kind of new at that time, even though now it's everywhere. But when he said it, it was just one of those moments where like you got goosebumps and you're like, yep, that's right. And so it was just something that Dutch and his brilliant mind and had just like thrown in there. And he didn't say it in the first two promos, and then he said it in the third one, and then when we didn't record any more. And when Vince watched it, he said, "That's my guy." And so, I mean, you can add "We the People" to the long list of brilliant things that Dutch has come up with.